If you're feeling the energy of this time period, here's a little mantra for you. Dear Venus and Pluto, thank you for this journey to go inward into myself and mine for the gold that I keep trying to find in the external world. I choose to breathe in with both of you. I choose to love myself exactly as I am. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards and happy Palindrome Day. The day I'm recording this is December 22nd, and today's date, 12/22/21, is a palindrome, which makes it a little extra magical and also helps give us sort of a preview of the upcoming year because we're about to go into 2022. So today's energy, I don't know if you're watching this, you probably won't see it on the day, but if you're watching this and you're reflecting back, I want you to think back to last Wednesday, whenever it is you're watching this, or Wednesday the 22nd, and try to remember any significant energy that came through for you that day. For me, I had a pretty cool start to this day. Let me share it with you. So every once in a while, I get really cool dreams. I have a lot of intuitive insights that come through my dreams. Has happened to me all my life. And I've had a lot of visits from different ascended masters, from spirit guides, from extraterrestrials through my dream state. And I always relish those dreams. They're so important to me. And they, of course, they always stick with me. They never fade away. And it's been a while since I've had one. I've been actually kind of like, where are you? Where are you guys? I really need to talk to you. And I had one last night. And it's hard to explain. I remember that they, how did I know they were extraterrestrials? Well, they were all levitating. And they had come to see me and I was on the second floor of a house. So I knew when I looked out the window and there was someone right there at the window, I'm like, right there. They must be flying, which was pretty cool. I don't know about you, but I've had lots of flying dreams myself. And I really look forward to re-experiencing that. I think it would be so cool if we could all learn that skill once again. Anyway, so they were at my window and I was really excited to talk with them. I knew in my dream, I'm like, oh, awesome. This is otherworldly contact. And so I invited, there was a few of them there, and I invited them in. What was really interesting about it this time is that their energy, in past dreams I've had where I've had extraterrestrial contact, my body always sort of buzzed and hummed in a different way, which let me know it wasn't just how they looked, it was mostly like how I was reacting to them physically. And this time there wasn't any kind of obvious physical reaction. In fact, the beings themselves looked very, I would say average is the word. You wouldn't be able to pick them out of a crowd. The only way I could tell that they weren't quite human is, of course, through the levitation. And when I got closer to one, the eyes were just so ever so slightly different. And I went and I immediately hugged one. A woman came through the window and I hugged her and I was just holding her. And once I got to hug her, I could also tell that there was something different. She didn't feel as solid as human beings do. So I was really excited to see them. And I asked her, I said, are you human? And she said, no. And I was like, oh, cousins! That was my response because they looked very human. And so even though they weren't technically human, I could tell that we were related. So that was all that really happened in the dream. No words were spoken, but I got a ton of information just through having that little snippet of a dream. And what I got intuitively, the messages that were downloaded, is that these other dimensional beings are here at this time. They're here among us. Their energy is really interesting. So they're here on purpose, and specifically they're here to increase the density on the planet, meaning increase consciousness. Now they are coming from a neutral place. So the reason they're allowed to be here and do this is there's really this neutrality to them. They are not trying to do our work for us, because this is a very important time in the energy through our own ascension that we all must do our work. We all must make our choices. No other being is going to step in and do the work we're supposed to do. And they're also not here to hinder that work. They're really neutral. They are just coming in to raise that frequency. And what does that do? That raises our own conscious awareness. It's easier to see because we have a higher level of consciousness, which allows us to see the board more clearly. So it's almost like they're just tuning that energy up a little bit more so people have a little bit more clarity. It's like getting a pair of glasses or something like that. And that they are here. They're literally among us, but you wouldn't ever be able to pick them out unless you had some kind of specific contact, and that they are also very good at blending in. So you're not going to feel them necessarily. You're not going to know. It could be the person, it could be a neighbor, it could be someone walking their dog down the street. You'll never know. But there are beings out there that are holding a space for us to tune up our own consciousness. And of course, you still have to do the work to do that. And that enters into what's happening now. So we just had our last full moon of 2021 that happened on the 18th of December. And on the 19th of December, Venus went retrograde and in conjunction with Pluto. And that's where she'll be throughout the rest of December and all the way through the end of January. She's going to be in this placement. And I've been talking about this the last few karma cards because I feel like it's a big one for us. Venus is a benefic planet. She's loving, she's giving, she's here to help us expand. So by doing this inner work that I've been talking about, you're going to expand from it, right? I think last time I talked about the analogy that it's like a miner going into a cave mining for gold. You're going to come out with something precious during this time. And the preciousness is this inner strength and more clarity. You're actually going inward to break down the thoughts of lack and not having, so that you can truly feel your abundance and your sense of deserving and your value. It will improve your relationships by you doing the inner work. So again, just to kind of recap this energy, and it is echoed in the cards, which makes me super excited. To recap the energy, we're being asked to look at, what am I trying to get from other people? So other people are our relationships, and those can be from, the casual relationship all the way up to the intimate relationships. It includes all of it. What am I trying to get through other people? And another way to say that is, what am I trying to get from the external world? There is something. And that thing that you are trying to get from the external world usually leaves you with a sense of lack. Like, I'm not getting this, or I'm not getting as much of it as I need. And so with that knowledge of what is it I'm trying to get from this person, we can then go inward and find out where our beliefs are about why we don't have it yet, and try to understand why we're not acknowledging that it exists within us, and then try to mine that out, get to the heart of that, so that we can then extract that energy from ourselves. So again, if I'm feeling like I'm not getting enough attention from someone, then we can go inward and we can do that digging work and find out, what, this is an area where I don't give myself enough attention, right? If you need breaks, for instance, if you need to slow down, but you're driving yourself too hard because you're afraid that slowing down might mean losing momentum, or it might mean something doesn't get done, or you're going to lose the abundance you have, then you're sort of steamrolling yourself when this other part of you is like, I actually need your attention. I need you to slow down. I need you to be with me. I need you to take the time to nourish me or nurture me somewhere, right? So that might be what needs to be corrected. And that's just one example. Many times what we're finding is that we're actually trying to get certain things from certain people, right? We may have learned that this person can only give this, or that certain relationships, like intimate relationships, I expect more from people than from people that I'm friends with, right? It's really something you're going to have to go in. We all have our own sort of unique twist on what we're trying to get from the external world. I will say though, if you're familiar with the Enneagram types and you know your Enneagram type, that is almost like a cheat sheet for working through this Venus conjunction Pluto retrograde. And the reason why is because each personality type in the Enneagram types has a basic fear. And that is usually what drives that type. So your Enneagram not only recognizes where you have natural strengths, but it also recognizes where your ego attaches to things because of a specific fear you're holding on to. So if you know that type, and of course there are a ton of ways to take the Enneagram test for free. In fact, all you have to do is type into your search bar, free Enneagram test, and I'll write it right here so you can know how to spell that. Put that in your browser, pull up one of the free tests. It is like it's like a couple pages long of questions. Some people love that. I love doing the questions. Some people think it's tedious. At the end, you will get an answer, and it'll show you what your more specific matches. For some people, they have to take it a few times. Usually those people, it's actually part of their Enneagram type to be sort of like a chameleon, right? So for chameleon types, you might have to take it a few times. Eventually, you're going to refine it down and see what it is, and you'll learn about your basic fear. And if you've taken that test honestly, it'll go right into you. You'll be like, oh crap, yep, there it is. There's my feelings. This is how my ego tries to get its needs met. It's a great tool. And then you can start working with that and kind of give yourself a head start on where you need to dig and what you should be focusing on to help you get the abundance that is actually behind all of this work, right? So again, guaranteed, when Venus is involved, guaranteed there is abundance attached to this. So going in is less painful. Doing the work is less painful when you understand that there is definitely a payoff. And a great way to think about that is, again, I love to use the working out or exercise metaphor, because many times when we have an exercise for a while and we start up again, there's this wall of resistance that we have to work through, right? We do the exercises, they feel hard, we can tell we're out of shape, we get sore afterwards, and at first, exercise feels like work. It just does. There's no getting around it. You sort of have to break into exercise. But there is a point at which there is a turn. There's a turnaround in which strength has been developed, in which endurance has been developed, where suddenly exercise, doing that work, becomes more of a payoff than a pain. And I just want you to hold that information in your consciousness as you allow yourself to dig in to the shadow aspects and to the things that you're like, gosh, I wish I wasn't engaging in this behavior, or I didn't feel insecure here. I want you to remember the exercise metaphor, because there is a turning point. There always is, where at first you're like, this is painful. I'm revisiting stuff I don't want to look at. I think about not getting this and I feel more insecure, not less insecure. I think about what I'm not getting or giving to myself, and I start to cry and I feel like I'm having a breakdown. That is so similar to the pain of starting the workout. At some point you go in there and you have conditioned yourself through this. You're like, I understand. I understand that that's where the pain was. That's what was holding me in place. These are the thoughts I keep thinking that trip me up and reactivate certain pain. But as I keep going in, I actually feel better. The deeper I understand myself, the better I feel. The more I realize that I'm seeking validation again. Oh, I'm doing it again. Now I got to pull it in. And where am I not validating myself? Right. I've done that work. I feel better. So, doing shadow work, doing completion work, things like this, where you're actually working on healing and resolving trauma, it's going to feel better the more that you do it. And that the energy shifts. It starts to be something that you go to because you realize that this is actually creating more completion, resolution than more pain. But it's just that initial pain that we all have to move through. And thankfully, you're not doing it alone. Now, this is both a blessing and a little bit of a curse at the same time. It's a blessing because it's not a spotlight. It's not like this is your problem. Everybody is being asked to look. The curse is not everybody has the same level of spiritual maturity while going through this window. So for those who have been doing the work for a while or have been growing themselves and on a journey of personal growth, you're probably going to be sensitive. You might snap, you might have a bad day, but you're more likely going to pull it back and remember, I'm not doing this alone. Other people are going through it too. So-and-so also feels insecure right now because of their stuff. And you're going to hold that space and compassion. It's going to be a little difficult. You're just going to have to be in that space, though, that not everybody is there on an emotional maturity level. So you might see people revert back to a maybe more negative or unpleasant version of themselves, especially if they don't understand the energetic around them. It's going to be this place of like, you do the work, you feel better about yourself, someone else snaps at you, you might feel hurt and want to recoil, and then you realize, wait a minute, no, they're also going through the work. I'm going to give them space, or I'm going to give them compassion, or I'm going to breathe and work on my responding instead of reacting, right? And what you're going to see, though, too, is it's not just all negative. So even though I'm sort of pointing out, here's the work, the positive around it is that relationships actually naturally become a little more coherent. Why? Because a person can feel when you have pulled your expectation off of them. Whether they're consciously aware of it or not, they can feel when the expectation has been pulled off of them. That lightens their energy, and being around you becomes easier and more, amenable. I guess that's the right word. You're more of a pleasure to be around because they can feel the pressure is off of them. There's no pressure to deliver, if you will, when you're doing that work. That can make the relationships better. It's just holding in our mind that they're also being asked to do the work. And whatever level they can receive that at is, what they're going to be responding from. So people do the work, they feel better, you feel better, things start to flow a little more harmoniously. Other people, it might be like this situation where you're like, I don't understand why, this isn't enough for you, because they're still trying to get it from the outside world. And it's almost like right now less is available because everyone's more internalized, if that makes sense. So hold the space for yourself, hold compassion for others, and recognize that there's so much abundance to receive during this kind of odd period of self-reflection. And with that, let's see what the karma cards have to say about this time. For those who are new to karma cards, let me quickly go over these with you. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I got 2 sets of answers. One in red, which are action related, and one in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in intuitively and ask yourself, what do I need right now? Do I need action-related answers, or am I really looking for outcome-related answers? And of course, you can always choose both. While you're deciding, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for December 23rd through December 29th. And the flavor of this reading is super cool because it ties right into what we're talking about. We have the planet Venus, who is our guide on this journey we're going through right now, in the sign of Sagittarius, where she started the journey. Even though she's in Capricorn, it technically started before we went into the season of Capricorn. It started on the 19th. So it's like towards the end of Sagittarius, which gives us some lightness and optimism. Thank you. In the 8th house, that's ruled by Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto. So here's where we're going, right? Into the mystery. The 8th house represents transformation and mystery. It's a lot of unknowns in this house, and this is where Pluto hangs out. So Venus going to Pluto. It's really interesting. So let's find out what the cards have to say. Your spiritual action at this time is to cherish your highest ideals as a life or death issue. Cherish your highest ideals as a life or death issue. So highest ideals, we're talking about the best version of ourselves. We're talking about our higher self, our most evolved self. Let this be your personal guide as you do this work, right? So all those resources that we keep looking for from the outside world, we're actually looking for from within. Guess who's got them? The highest version of you has everything. It's been everything. It's been on every journey you've ever been on, you're currently on, and the ones you haven't even been on yet. Your higher self is future you at the top of your spiritual growth game. So understand that your resources, you have them all. I mean, we say this all the time, and it's kind of a spiritual fact that we have everything we need. That's how we have everything we need, because time is not linear. Time's a spiral. And weirdly, we can access ourselves on any point of the spiral. So accessing our highest self, just love that and understand it's serious business. Mental action at this time. Enjoy the rules of getting and using power. And again, this is an area that I'm excited to dig deeper in with you, especially as we move forward into 2022. Getting and using power. Power is so different from control. And a lot of us have a natural association to control and power. And we've sort of been, again, conditioned to believe they're the same thing. Whoever controls what has the power. That's not true. Power is something of its own ilk. And I think power is more closely related to the awareness of your personal ability and resources, like what the resources you draw on from within. So again, enjoy the rules of getting and using power. This has nothing to do with what you can control outside of yourself, and it has everything to do with accessing the power that lies within. And again, with Sagittarius involved, it's pointing upwards. It's saying the higher power. So everyone has power. Not everybody accesses power. And those who try to act as if they have power over you are actually enacting a sense of control. And when you're trying to control others, you have no control over yourself. Physical action at this time. Charm, art, and beauty are the way to get out to the world and use other people's resources. So again, let me repeat. Charm, art, and beauty are the way to get it out in the world and use other people's resources. You know, what's interesting, what I feel when I read into that is when it get it out into the world, use other people's resources, it almost is like it's talking about social media in a way. And I feel like this is a great time period during this Venus journey. A great way to incorporate what you're learning about yourself and also act as an example of going through the process is through artistic expression, through journaling, photography, music, art. I mean, all the arts, even just almost cataloging your own experience, poetry, things like that. Where with Venus so activated and internalized right now, we're highly responsive to all of that. And the fact that it wants to be shared, it's really interesting. And again, like I said, from my dream and what I was getting is that consciousness is being boosted right now. That's the help we're getting. Not raising your own consciousness, that's your job, but to the level to which you can reach and how easy it is to be boosted. So we're getting a booster seat right now. And I get that if you're using that boost and using it to do the internal work, a great way to share it is through this beautiful abstract energy. It's like, put what's happening to you out in the world. You don't have to share it directly. You can. I mean, that's one way to share it. But it's almost like, let what you're learning about yourself and the power that you are developing in yourself be something that you're putting out into the world. Reflect it outward. People are going to sense it. It's going to be an abstract feeling, but again, it's going to give them maybe the boost and the encouragement they need. Maybe it's the inspiration they need to do the deeper work themselves. And it's a way to be of service. And with Venus involved, it's service through beauty, which is one of my favorite ways to experience it. Let's look at outcomes during this time period for Venus in Sagittarius in the 8th house of transformation. The spiritual outcome at this time is the attraction of insights to understand personal power. Well, there you go. I mean, basically, that's what I've been trying to describe in this Venus retrograde into with Pluto, is the attraction of insights to understand personal power. You're going to receive so much gold and abundance during this time period. Mental outcome at this time, pleasure from the wisdom of the mysteries of life. It's beautiful. I mean, like I said, at some point it stops feeling like work and you start feeling the payoff. Doing the work starts to feel pleasurable and better. And it's something you can't quite put into words. You won't necessarily be able to translate it directly, but you will feel it, and there probably is going to be impetus to share it. Physical outcome at this time, good times resulting from the understanding of a major change. So again, as we switch our thinking from how do I get this from other people to how do I give myself what I feel I'm missing, that's the major change. That's the paradigm shift. I assure you, people are going to notice when you do that. People are going to realize you've taken pressure off of me. They might not have that conscientious awareness. Some will. Some will be like, wow, you're so different around me. Usually I feel like this need to kind of puff you up or try to help you overcome insecurity. And you're so confident. I can feel that. You might get that response, but most likely what you're going to get is just a sense of relief and ease. And it's just like an animal. Like for those who have animals, especially cats, for those who have cats, when you need the cat to come over because you need to cuddle it, the cat can sense it and the cat's like, see ya, it won't come near you. But when you don't need them, when you are content with where you are, well, then you are very magnetic and they come right in. Then they can't help but be all over you. That's why you often see like videos of cats laying across people's artwork or laying across their computer, or laying across their book. You're trying to sleep and you got a cat on your face. That's because as soon as you don't need them to give you affection, then they are free to give you as much affection as they'd like. It's that sense of need that creates a sense of pressure, and animals are very aware of it. People are responding in the same way. So the more pressure we can take off other people to help us have a good time, the better a time you're going to have and the better time they're going to have. And you're highly magnetic in that state. In fact, this is just true, period. It's not just to this time period. The more you attend to your own needs, and this doesn't mean that you're not going to need people. It's not an all or nothing situation. There are times when we need people, and that's fine. And that's as it should be. I mean, we are a communal species. We need each other. We're a social animal. But the more you're attending to those needs, and it is felt, it's felt from you, the more magnetic you become. Like if you want abundance in your life, feel abundant. Now I know we've heard that before, and some of us are like, I can't hear it again because I'm trying to feel abundant and it's not coming. But it really is the case that when you feel your needs are met, then the outside world reflects back to you, your needs are met. And then you feel your needs are met and your needs are met, right? So this is how that attraction process works. You're more magnetic when you feel that you're meeting your personal feelings, you're meeting your personal needs. Whenever we are in a state of wanting, I call it like spiritual bug repellent. When you want something, what you're really saying is, I don't have it. I don't have it. And so all the world can reflect back to you is, you're right, you don't have it. And then you really feel, I don't have it. And the world's like, yeah, you really don't have it. Right? So it's a mirror world we're dealing with. So we've got to come to that place where we can really identify, what is it I'm trying to get and how do I give this to myself now? Because now I am ready to be truly abundant. And to be truly abundant, I need to acknowledge that my needs are truly met. So during this time period, I wish you happy searching, happy discovery. May you give yourself everything you find that you need so that you can truly feel that sense of you have it and you are abundant, so that you may then experience it in the external world and have better times, have great times. And with that, I will see you next week. Sending you so much love. Mwah. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.